Welcome to Inside the Program, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. That's Eric Naleen. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And, of course, head to InsideTexas.com. It's the first link in our description. Sign up for just $1. Join the best Texas Longhorns community. Get all the best Texas Longhorns intel, team, recruiting, and join the best community. And you'll get a full year of access to The Athletic, all for just $1. So go to that first link in our description. Sign up now. Can't wait to see you over there. We're going to talk about some of the notes, Eric, that you posted over on Inside Texas here on Friday, and some other things that made the rounds this week, including who's back, some players who are injured and we expect to see or may not expect to see on Saturday, what we want to see from Arch Manning, opportunity knocks for young players in the secondary, more O-linemen making appearances, and then time to see who is Texas' third running back. So that should kind of tell you a little bit about maybe some guys who will or won't play. But the guy you had as the lead picture in that article that you wrote this morning, DeAndre Moore, his presence is going to be big this weekend for the Longhorn offense.
Yeah, I think it's already been big in practice this week. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of know-how, a lot of experience. Really the only guy that has any real experience in that room outside. Wingo played some last year, but not like starter reps. So, getting more back is good for not only, the whole offense, hopefully working better together, but also, more symmetry with Arch Manning. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. That's going to be a security blanket for Arch. Hopefully that helps get Arch's timing down, comfort going through his progressions. Yeah, getting more back is big. A couple running backs will be out. The two starters, the co-starters, basically Trey Wisner, CJ Baxter. If they were playing Florida next weekend rather than having a bye, they'd probably be on time. They don't want to force them back. Sark plays the long game. We all know that. It's a bit unfortunate because the run game hasn't been able to get going consistently, but at least we'll be able to see some younger players behind them. You get Jonah Williams, the first, Texas fans have been anticipating him since he committed last August. He's missed a lot of time, was exciting on the baseball field, hasn't practiced a whole lot. He came back to practice on Monday, and he's going to play this weekend. Expect to see him at safety and maybe on special teams. Another player that's out that I think he's out is Kobe Black. I don't think he's going to play this weekend, and that's going to be an important detail later in the show.
It also seems like for any guys who were dinged up against UTEP, Texas is going to err on the side of caution just because it is Sam Houston State. They got a bye week coming up, and they'll be able to get ready for Florida. We'll talk about Jonah in a second, but we do have to talk about Arch Manning. What do we want to see from him? And I kind of think it's pretty simple what we want to see from him this week.
Well, we just want to see the player that plays in practice. Sark was asked this week if Arch is the player in games that he sees in practice, and obviously the answer is no. If the answer was yes, I would have been sounding the alarms throughout all of August that they had some big problems ahead of them. Arch just needs to slow down, gain some comfort, understand that he's got time to go through his progressions, understand that he's got time to allow his receivers to get open. He does have good pass protection. Stay in the pocket. You don't have to make the big play. You're not trying to win the game with every drop back or every time he takes off and runs. Just play your game, gain some confidence, get him some confidence throws early, and just play within himself. Quit trying to do so much. I'm not too worried about Arch. It's a little frustrating to see that he's getting off and having these issues after looking entirely different in his limited playing time last year. But I think he's going to get going this week. I anticipate him playing pretty well, actually.
I think you said it best during the course of the week. You don't need 14 points with every throw. And there were a couple throws against UTEP where you could tell he's trying to put 2 touchdowns on the board and he ends up with 0. So should be a good opportunity for him to bounce back. And like you said, that offensive line, some lapses, just like every offensive line, but for the most part in pass protection, been doing great things, picking up blitzes and just protecting against 4-man rushes. Like that's just kind of baseline competency. And they have that. You want more, but it's nice to have that. We talked a little bit about Jonah Williams. There are going to be a lot of, and some other Texas defensive backs who may not see any action or be limited this week. So that's going to give a lot of younger defensive backs, first and second year guys, some opportunity back there against a type of offense in Phil Longo's air raid where they may not see much talent on the other side of them, but they're going to see these schemes pretty regularly throughout the course of the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun week to watch the secondary because there's going to be a lot of youth. You're going to get a glimpse at what's going to happen in 2026. I do anticipate major turnover in the secondary after this season. Grayson Littleton should get a look at corner. I think he's going to play corner quite a bit, actually. Obviously he's the complete cornerback or defensive back. Lot of similarities to Jahdae Barron with his football IQ and his toughness and just versatility. So getting a look at him at corner, which I think is going to be his position in 2026, will be beneficial for all of us. If he's at corner, that's going to open up the door for Wardell Mack to play. Wardell, we'd been writing about Wardell playing a lot this season. He had that little minor infraction, but then he got on the field last week. Not really in the doghouse by any stretch. Actually, I don't know if you saw that play of him somersaulting. That got brought up in a film review with the team. Everybody had a good laugh about that. But Wardell, they're excited about Wardell at start, and I think that's probably going to be his 2026 position. So you get a good glimpse there. Jonah Williams, everybody's excited to see him. He was fast and physical in practice this week. The athleticism, the length. He's just a little bit different. Everybody knows how talented he is. He's going to play free safety and get some looks on special teams. We think on special teams, but definitely at safety. That's exciting. I believe Jordan Johnson-Rebel is going to play quite a bit. He played a lot last week, and he looked really good. Not a lot of people are talking about him. He didn't come up in with as much fanfare as some of these other guys, but he looked comfortable in coverage. He came downhill and made a big tackle. One player that's young in the secondary we don't think we'll see a lot of is Xavier Filsaime. I think he's still a little dinged up. He's another one of those guys that's not serious. They just want him right for conference play.
One of the things that you noticed on special teams is some of these younger players getting snaps. You mentioned Jordan Johnson-Rebel getting snaps. Jonathan Cunningham, he got some snaps. And Cade Phillips, I think, got a handful. That seems to be like an indicator where, okay, you've done this in practice, now try this in the game. And then if you can do that in the game, now try this on standard downs. And Johnson-Rebel, Cunningham, those are the leading guys. It'll be exciting to see Jonah and then also to see him on regular downs.
Yeah, and Cade is another one that we should see at cornerback. I don't think this is going to be a huge week for Gilbo. I think they're going to want to play some of the younger guys. Cade Phillips, they love him. Yeah, cornerback. I mean, everybody has some up and down on cornerback this season. 2026 is going to be freaking loaded at cornerback, even with the departure of Malik Muhammad. Expected departure. It's not set in stone yet.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, that is Academy.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
So some true and redshirt freshmen may get some opportunities in the secondary. It also sounds like some true and redshirt freshmen could get some opportunities playing offensive line this week for Texas.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes because everybody wants to see the run game get on track. But Sark also wants to play the young guys. He wants to see what everybody can do. He likes to tinker, experiment, and all that. Hopefully, we don't see these guys until the second half. I want to see the group that's going to play against Florida playing a lot. But we do expect to see Daniel Cruz at center. Nick Brooks should get a look at tackle, maybe even guard, and Nate Kibble at guard, which everybody's excited about Nate Kibble. They think he can be a potential starter next year. Daniel Cruz has been smart and physical in practice. Obviously, he's going to have to take that to the field. That's always how fast can you take that effort on practice out to the field? That's a question mark. And obviously, Nick Brooks has tremendous upside. He's viewed as an early round draft pick eventually. But how ready is he? He's a true freshman. This would be the game that you want to see him, though, right? I mean, if you're going to make mistakes, better be against Sam Houston than anybody else. So I'm excited to see how these guys look. At the same time, I want to see the offense have some success and some continuity with the guys that we expect to start. But if Nate Kibble balls out, hey, maybe he starts making noise as the season goes on. Just because you start this week or against Florida doesn't mean you're going to start the rest of the year. And we all want to get a glimpse at Cruz because the center competition in 2026 is going to be open between him and Connor Robertson.
I feel like we've forgotten, considering the 2023 and 2024 lines look so similar with just Cam Williams switching in for Christian Jones, that this is kind of typical of college offenses. Like, they do some tinkering in the non-conference and on the O-line. And maybe some of it is, of course, there's been some poor play, but this is also something that coaches tend to just do when they have the opportunity to.
Well, experience goes a long way. That's kind of the thing that keeps guys from playing. It's a catch-22, right? How do you play if you don't have experience? How do you gain experience if you don't play? All these snaps that they get, Jordan Johnson-Rebel gets 22 or something last week. That goes a long way towards his confidence this week. We don't see that rotation as much on the offensive line, though we have seen it some in non-conference. but they need competition. That this line has to this line. There's no saviors coming in from the portal midseason. So there's opportunity for anybody that wants to step up and take it, and a little bit of experience could go a long way. If they think that Nate Kibble is a starter in 2026, then he should be ready to at least contribute this season. We want to see that. If Daniel Cruz is going to play next year, he should at least be pretty serviceable right now, even though this would be his first experience. He's still, he's been in the program for a year. If Nick Brooks is really an early round draft pick, he's a guy that should be able to go out there and get by on just his raw athletic skill set. And then, you'll build out the overall technique and skill long term. So these guys, if they really do have a future, they should be able to help this line, because this line has not been coloring itself in glory so far.
One of the areas that they can improve and they can get some help as well is in that run game. And with Baxter and Wisner maybe not expected to play, it's going to be time to see what can guys like Christian Clark and Jarrett Gibson and James Simon do. James Simon obviously made the most of his opportunity. Christian Clark did good things. Jarrett Gibson got to hang on to the ball, but this is one of the last kind of lingering battles before Texas gets into conference play to see, all right, who may need to get 5 or 6 carries.
Yeah, this might be the thing I'm most excited about in the game, outside of whether or not, Arch can get going and playing like the guy that we know he is. Running back 3 seems wide open. Jarrett Gibson, Christian Clark, and James Simon. All of them have interesting traits. I think, James Simon looked really good last week. It didn't really pop in the stat line, but the traits were there. He's making guys miss. He ran with authority at times. He's kind of a mix of Jarrett Gibson and Christian Clark. Can go inside, can go outside. So I'm really excited, and he's got pretty good hands too. So I'm really excited what he does this weekend. It's really going to boil down to who understands the blocking, who understands the run schemes, who's going to maximize the blocking that they do get. Obviously, they haven't been getting great blocking with consistency, but gap schemes they run a little bit better than they do zone. So there should be some opportunities for some room, certainly against Sam Houston State. Who understands the blocking schemes the best? This is probably going to be, we'll have a much better idea after seeing all 22, like what lines were available and, where they used their vision the right way and where they got antsy and wanted to bounce outside when they shouldn't have. Those are all young running back mistakes. But this is going to come down to whoever reads the blocking the best, goes where the play is supposed to, and can hold on to the ball. And I would not discount James Simon from having another big week.
I think Sark said something earlier this week where he goes, like, you can't just run away from guys. You're not the best athlete on the field anymore. You have to run where it's blocked, and you have to find your lane. And I think that's what a lot of these guys are figuring out, because, I mean, let's face it, James Simon and Christian Clark, this is technically their first season. Christian Clark didn't get to play that much. And
every young running back wants to bounce outside. That is just the same old. Every young offensive lineman plays too high. Everybody has these. They come in with the same bad habits from high school, because like you said, you can get away with things in the lower level than you can on this level. So that's just something. Now, who's going to be the first to respond and start running and adapting to the college game? I'm curious to see how it plays out. I like all those guys. They all have good traits. But James Simon, if you just watch the way he ran last week, obviously the competition's not great, and the competition won't be great this week. But you could see some things that are going to transfer against better competition once he gets more comfortable.
We've got a lot of other notes from this morning over on Inside Texas, so make sure you head over there. That's the first link in our description. Get the best coverage, insight, insider team info, recruiting knowledge, everything you want as a Texas Longhorns fan, along with the best Texas Longhorns community. Sign up for just $1, and we'll also throw in a full year of access to The Athletic with it. So, Eric, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Inside the Program, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.